Martin Stoll is the CEO and founder of Sparkloft Media, a social media agency and think tank that focuses on travel and tourism. Ladies and gentlemen, tweet about it, take photos and post it to the MTS mobile app, Instagram, Facebook, and welcome Martin Stoll to the stage.
It's great to be here. I didn't get the memo. I own Google Glass, but I didn't bring them. So I'm here to talk about something different. What I picked as a topic to talk about innovation is why corporate storytelling is bullshit. Bruce said I can use such strong language, so let me say that again. Corporate storytelling is bullshit. That's the theme of my talk. And let me share with you why in the next 8 minutes and 37 seconds why I came to this conclusion. I go to a lot of conferences. I speak at a lot of conferences. Over the last 2 to 3 years, there has been a common theme wherever I go to learn about the latest trends in marketing, and it is brands have to tell stories. Content marketing is the future. That's the way to go. Wherever you go to hear a presentation, that's the theme. And there's a good reason for that. An example is how we watch television today. So when you sit in front of the TV and you watch sports news or you watch business news, we are bombarded with information. You sit there, you have the news anchor, there's a sidebar that tells you what's coming up, there's the ticker underneath that tells you what's all the stuff you're missing out on, and you sit on the couch, you have your iPhone in one hand where you're WhatsApping with your friends, and the tablet in the other hand where you are pinning stuff, how you want to remodel your house. No wonder nobody's paying any attention to any of the commercials or advertising messages, marketing messages that are out there. So the Holy Grail to overcome this conundrum is storytelling. And when you think back a couple of 10,000 years, when we were sitting in a cave and we could not watch cavemen idle, we used storytelling to tell each other about the mammoth we killed in the day, and storytelling was the main means of communicating, passing on knowledge. And if you have a good story, and that's why all us marketers think this is the solution, if you have a good story, the audience will be mesmerized, glued to your lips, and pay attention, and there is no blocking out or being on your phone and so on. So in theory, great concept. In reality, there are 2 problems with this. The first problem is that these stories that you create compete with a lot of other stories, not only by many, many other brands who are pouring tons of marketing dollars into creating also great stories, but also with stories that consumers and normal people tell, who now, because they have fabulous digital devices built by unnamed companies, makes us all storytellers. So we can Instagram, Facebook, tweet, all that stuff, which we could not do in the past. And the reality is people are much likely to hear and enjoy content that's generated by their friends than by some corporation. So that's the first problem with storytelling. The second problem is what makes a good story. A good story has a good guy and a bad guy, and they struggle. And few brands really want to go and have this struggle close to their brand where it's not sure how the story is going to end. Brands want to play it safe. So I would argue that most brands who say they're telling stories are just doing that because it plays well with their board. They're not really telling a good story. So what's the solution to this? So I want to encourage you, instead of thinking about being storytellers, to think about being story instigators. So what's a story instigator? A story instigator is somebody, instead of telling the story themselves, goes and pokes somebody else at the right moment to tell a story, ideally about something that you want the story to be told about. So because you instigate at the right moment, you have control over, to some extent, what this story is going to be like. I'll give you one example. This is a sign in Amsterdam. Has anybody seen that sign? So, some of you. So this is a ginormous sign in Amsterdam. That's the Amsterdam Tourist Board brand message that says, "I'm Amsterdam," and it stands in front of the Rijksmuseum on a big green meadow. And what do people do when they get to the sign? Of course, they come there, they take out their phones, and they take a photo. On good days, you can hardly see the sign because there's so many people who want to take a photo of it. And then they post the photos, share the story of their experiences in Amsterdam with their friends. So you might say, now, okay, get the point, but that's not really a story, that's just sharing a photo. So what do you have to do to get a story being told? So here's what I think. I'm not originally from the United States. When I moved here, I wanted to improve my English, so I had the fantastic idea to take Improv Theatre lessons. It did nothing for my English, but, as you can tell, but I learned a thing or two about Improv Theatre. And one of the concepts of Improv Theatre is that you make somebody else an offer. So in improv, everything is made up, so I could go and say, Bruce, why did you bring a mountain goat to this cruise ships? And I make him an offer, give him the opportunity to tell a story and run with it. And it's a very different story if I choose to say, why did you bring this pit bull to this cave here? The story's going to go in a different direction. So I think brands need to think about this concept from improv theater and say, what are you as marketers, what are you doing to making your customers an offer to instigate and get them to tell a story for you? I found one great example of something, I will say, that is very good at making offers and instigating stories. Has anybody seen this pattern? You might say now, oh, that's exactly what your socks look like, right? So, true, my socks, also my shirt, are the pattern of the carpet at the Portland International Airport. You might say, now, what does this have to do with making an offer and storytelling? So, I learned about this, the importance of the Portland Airport carpet about 3 years ago when I talked at the office with a colleague about what does home mean. And she said, she's from Portland, she said, home for me is when I come to the airport, I'm back from a trip, and I see the carpet. Carpet's 20 euros, really ugly. But she said, this carpet is home for me. And apparently she was not the only one feeling this way, because there's somebody who invented an Instagram account, a Twitter account, and a Facebook account for this carpet. And in Portland, it has become this meme that when you go to the airport to fly out or you come back from a trip, you take a photo of your feet on the carpet. There's about 5,000 photos on Instagram with the hashtag PDXCarpet. If you have not seen it, I highly recommend that you have a look at it. It is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. And you now can buy all kinds of gear in these colors. But what's interesting about this from making an offer perspective is when you post a photo of your shoes, the carpet will retweet or re-Instagram your photo and will comment on it. The carpet has gotten a little bit picky, I must say, because there's so many photos. But here's an example where somebody took a photo and the carpet goes and says, hey, this user really likes some Oregon. Are you a native? Who's a native or who's a transplant? And immediately, this offer of starting a conversation, because for people, the Portland carpet is home, this starts a conversation about people saying, I miss Oregon, this carpet, when I'm going to see it next time, and so on. So the carpet makes an offer, instigates this conversation, and this is one perfect example of a very innocent example of how a story instigating and making an offer works. And if you don't think, those of you who are in marketing, and especially in branding, that you cannot learn a thing or two from the carpet, I will show you one last slide. Ideally, in branding, you want really people to get behind your brand, tell your story. And look what the carpet has done. It has gotten people to brand themselves in the carpet's brand, quite literally, by getting tattoos. So, in closing, and thinking about innovation, I want to encourage you to not only spend your precious marketing dollars on storytelling, but think about it, how you can be instigators and how you can make offers to your customers so they go out and tell stories about you and maybe even get a tattoo of your logo or two. Thank you.
So here we are at Breckenridge. Breckenridge marketing people are out in the room, I'm sure. Kieran's out there. How does he become an instigator? What's the first best thing he can do?
So it's funny that you mentioned Breckenridge, because I think Breckenridge is there 85% of the way. I don't know, those who were out and about in town have seen the little kiosks that they have where they have chalkboard and you can write down and say what's your Breckenridge story or Breckenridge moment. The only thing for me that's why it's just a tiny bit missing is it's instigating the story and it's making an offer to get your story told, but it's not making it possible to blast that story out to all my friends. So where the circle is missing, in my opinion, is making it more digital. Although I know they probably had a launch campaign around it.
So change it. What would you do?
I probably make the experience of more interactive, spend more money on building a kiosk that tweets it out right away.
Okay, great. Thank you, Martin.
Yeah, thank you.